Good evening everyone. Welcome to Venkanna English Guru. We are actually talking about English literature. As part of English literature, we discussed Victorian period till Victorian period. In this video, I am going to talk about modern period, and a few at least, because since you've been preparing for AP TET and AP DSC, TGT, PGT and school assistant examination. So the knowledge of modern period is also essential for us. Hence, this is going to be our, as part of history of English literature, this is going to be our last class. Next, tomorrow onwards, we will start forms of poetry, forms of fiction, forms of drama, figures of speech, meter and stanza forms and other literary terms. All literary terms will close, okay, in this in the next coming one week or 10 days. Within 1 week or 10 days we are going to close all those terms, my friends. So today in this video we are going to talk about modern period. So this modern period, which includes two other periods, Edwardian and Georgian period. Edwardian period 1901 to 1914, this is called Edwardian. 1910 to 1936, this is called Georgian. And modern period 1914 to 1945 39. People consider the beginning of World War I and the end of World War II. This period is considered to be the modern period, my friends. Okay. And as I told you, this modern period first includes Edwardian period. During this Edwardian period, for your examination, there may be a bit, what was the number of King Edward the 8th was a ruler. So this is commonly asked in the examination. The period after the death of Queen Victoria and the beginning of World War I, this period is considered to be Edwardian period, mainly 1901 to 1910. Edward VII was a ruler of England. And during this period, poets included Thomas Hardy, Alfred Noyes, William Butler Yeats, Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling is considered to be the first known Englishman, and who was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907. And dramatists included Henry Arthur Jones, Arthur Wing Penero, James Barrie, John Galsworthy, G.B. Shaw, the popular dramatist of the time. Next, you can also see during this period there was a group, there was a reformation in Ireland. And to talk about the rights, cultural, social, moral, ethical rights of Irish people, they wanted to create the culture Sigo, Dublin. And to talk about this culture, first they have established the Rymers Club, the Irish Dramatic Theatre in 1899. Later, this Celtic revival is also connected to our Irish literature. And a group of Irish writers, they grouped together and wrote literature by emphasizing their culture, their religion and their socio-cultural, moral, ethical, archetypical issues into literature, into poetry, into drama, into fiction. This group of Irish writers, which is called Celtic Revival, because they wanted to revive the culture, the moral values of Irish people. And these writers included Lady Gregory, W.B. Yeats, James Synge. The major achievements and about this Celtic revival were produced by these writers: Thomas Hardy, Joseph Conrad, Ford Madox Fort, John Galsworthy, H.G. Wells, Rudyard Kipling, Henry James, the brother of William James, and who was a popular psychologist you might have read about, who talks about the concept like stream of consciousness, which is proposed by William James, implemented into English literature by his brother Henry James, and where he wrote a lot of novels like The Wings of Doe, The Ambassador and The Golden Bowl. These were a few popular books which were very popular during this Edwardian period. During this period, my friends, there is also another important group, another important period from 1910 to 1936. This period is considered to be Georgian period. During this period, the period from 1910 to 1936, George the V was the ruler of England. England was under the control of George the V. There was a question during Georgian period, and who was the ruler? George 1, 2, 3, 5. 5. Okay, this is very important. Who was the following is not a Georgian poet. Next, what was Georgian poet about? Who published Georgian poetry? These were the repeated bits as part of NET, SET or JLDL examination. Georgian poetry, George the V. This poetry actually published in 4 volumes, 4 anthologies published by the popular writer Edward Marsh during 1912-1922, my friends. And this poetry is about 3 important concepts. I have used a quote TRS. T refers to traditional rather than experimental. So they wrote literature. Traditional techniques they followed, traditional forms they followed. They were not able to use any other. Next, at the same time, and they were able to R refers to rural in subject matter. Their literature was about a rural background, not urban, not about the cities, about the villages, about hamlets. Next, yes refers to skillful and delicate, not bold, not passionate in manner. So you can say Georgian poetry about TRS. T refers to traditional in form and technique, rural in subject matter, and yes, skillful and delicate. Next, who are the popular writers, poets of this Georgian poetry? Rupert Brooke, Walter de la Mare, Ralph and Hudson, W.S. Davis, John Masefield, John Drinkwater. You can see Rupert Brooke and Walter de la Mare, Ralph Hodgson, W.H. Davis, John Masefield, John Drinkwater, popular writers who belong to Georgian poetry, my friends. Next, now we will be talking about modern period. Sir, not audible. Why not audible? Yes, any issue? Yes, are you able to listen to me? Any difficulty in terms of understanding? Okay, is it audible right now? No voice. Why no voice? Let me check once. Hello? Hello? Yes, not audible. No voice, sir. What happened? Yes? Is it audible? Is it audible now? Hello? We have not been listening anything since you started, sir. Okay. Why? Hello? Hello? Yes, friends. Are you able to listen to the lecture? Yes, guys. Any voice? Hello? Anything? Am I audible? Hello. Audible? Hello. Okay. Hello everyone. Am I audible now? Hello everyone. Am I audible now? Hello everyone. Am I audible now? Yes. Hello everyone. Am I audible now? Hello everyone. Am I audible now? Hello. Why suddenly in the cut time? Hello everyone. Am I audible? 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 Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Yeah. Am I audible right now? Yes. Okay. Sorry for the late. I think. Okay. Just 15 minutes only. Not an issue. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Now I think it's okay for it's okay for you to listen to me. Yes. Shall I continue the class? Yes. Yeah. Okay then. See. Yeah. We are actually talking about modern period, my friends. We are actually talking about modern period, and when we talk about the modern period, the period from the beginning of World War One to the end of World War Two, this period is called modern period. The period from the beginning of World War One and the end of World War Two, This is called the modern period. This modern period, which is also called colonial period. According to criticism, it is also called structural period. Structural period, my friends. During this period, you can find multi-dimensional experiments in terms of subject matter, in terms of form, in terms of style. Which means during this period, literature was composed by employing multi-dimensional, which means previously there were regional novels, political novels and historical novels, Gothic novels. But in this period, you can see one novel which is an example for historical, regional, religious, psychological. So one novel can be multiple kind of issues that you can talk about in terms of subject matter, in terms of style, in terms of and form. And during this period, you can see important poets. Important poets included W.B. Yeats, Wilfred Owen, T.S. Eliot, W.H. Auden, and Robert Graves, Dylan Thomas, Seamus Heaney. Very popular writers, all these were. And the most important poet, T.S. Eliot, my friends. T.S. Eliot, W. Yeats, Wilfred Owen, the greatest war poet, Wilfred Owen. Next, T.S. Eliot, the greatest critic of English literature. Next, during this period, you can see important novelists. Who were the popular novelists of the time? You can say D.H. Lawrence, The Heart of Darkness, James Joyce, Ulysses, Finnegan's Wake. Very popular novels were written. D.H. Lawrence, very popular writer D.H. Lawrence, who is so popular for the novel Sons and Lovers, Rainbow, Women in Love, Lady Chatterley's Lover. Very popular novels composed by D.H. Lawrence, but his novels were not understood by the modern people, mainly the British people. Hence, they considered the novels written by D.H. Lawrence were pornographic, sexual novels. Hence, those novels were burnt at the Charing Cross, at the crossroad. And in shame, he died in 1936. Because people were not able to identify, understand, comprehend the novels which were written. He created a lot sexual relationships between son and mother. Why? What was the reason to create those relations, stepmother and son? Why did he create that? People were not able to understand the reasons. Hence, people burnt his novels. Even the parliament rejected his novels, rejected him and not as a good writer. Next, Dorothy Richardson, very popular lady and known for a stream of consciousness novels. Next, Virginia Woolf, the greatest 20th century feminist, popularly known for her essay, 20th century greatest feminist essay, A Room of One's Own, where she talks about two major issues. Every woman requires a separate room, and two, £500 per year, so that she will be independent. If somebody is financially independent, and if the woman is able to create miracles, according to Virginia Woolf, the theory that she talks about in that. And according to her, if a woman is independent, financially independent, definitely she will achieve what she wants. Next, E.M. Forster, Indian-born English writer. Coughed, I think. Remember this quote, my friends. Coughed Kipling. O. Orwell, George Orwell. F. E.M. Forster. T. W. Thackeray. These are the four important English writers born in India. Remember, born in India. Indian-born English writers. You have a quote, coughed. This is also asked in several examinations. Rudyard Kipling, George Orwell, E.M. Forster and W. Thackeray. Coughed. That's it. Remember. So, E.M. Forster, where he composed Passage to India, Passage to England, Nirasi Chowdhury, popular one. Next, Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World, popular dystopian novel. The concept of test tube baby, first he discussed. Graham Greene, campus novel. Doris Lessing, Rhodesian. Nadim Godimer, South African but settled in England. And the notable dramatist G.V. Shaw and Sino Casey, Neil Cavart, Samuel Beckett, we need to know many things about Samuel Beckett. He uses existentialism, Dadaism, surrealism and absurdism. So plenty of technique that he actually talks about. Was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1960s. And Harold Pinter, next Carol Churchill, Brendan and Behan, Frank McGuinness, Tom Stoppard, very popular dramatist who wrote a wonderful drama, Shakespeare is in Love. Next, very popular, important, you need to remember, okay, these are modern poets, modern novelists, okay, like have some kind of idea. Next, you see, and was also, this modern period was also an important era of literary criticism. The greatest age of English poetry, Romantic period. Greatest age of English drama, Elizabethan. The greatest age of English fiction, Victorian. The greatest age of English criticism, modern period, my friends. Remember, during this period you can find wonderful critics like T.S. Eliot, F.R. Lewis, Virginia Woolf, William Ibsen, I.A. Richards. Okay, like very popular writers you can see. T.S. Eliot, I.A. Richards, Virginia Woolf, F.R. Lewis, William Ibsen who wrote a wonderful text like The 7 Types of Ambiguity. Next, T.S. Eliot wrote a lot of texts, not just one, Metaphysical Poets and Hamlet and His Problems and Function of Criticism, Selected Essays, whatnot. He wrote a lot of critical essays. And I.A. Richards, Virginia Woolf, F.R. Lewis, who coined the word the new tradition. Next, a number of the authors during this period, most of the authors who composed the greatest English literature were not English writers, they were Irish writers. These were the Irish writers, they are not English, they were from Ireland, composed the greatest English literature. And some of them, W. Yeats, G.B. Shaw, James Joyce, C.N. Casey, Samuel Beckett, Iris Murdoch, Seamus Heaney, most of them, and Nobel Prize for Literature, and W. Yeats, G.B. Shaw, James Joyce, C.N. Casey, Samuel Beckett, Seamus Heaney, all these were Nobel laureates, were awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in different times. Next, during this period we have war poets. War poets, what is the duty? They wrote about the happenings of the war and incidents of the war, events of the war, suffering of the war, deaths of the war. And the popular one, Rupert Brooke. A leader, the greatest war poet, Wilfred Owen. Rupert Brooke, Wilfred Owen, Siegfried Sassoon, Edmund Blunden, Robert Graves, and you can see, and Ivor Gurney, D.H. Lawrence. Like there are plenty, there are nearly 7 important writers. There may be a bit, who of the following is not a war poet? Like that. War poets 1, different writers. War poet 2, different writers. Next, remember this. And you can also find what are the major characteristics of the literature composed during this period, my friends. I'll be reading only just highlights. And you can see rejection of traditional authority. Modern literature was against tradition, against authority, and they were in support of reason and natural sciences. They questioned tradition, they questioned authority, they supported natural sciences and reason. So literature supported reason, natural sciences, and literature was against traditional institutions, social institutions, cultural institutions. That's what people were in the greatest tension during 1901 to 1945, my friends. Entire the world is in doubt, dilemma, disorder. Okay, next. Believes that autonomous individual, not autonomy to the people, no, autonomous individual. Today you see, people wanted, they wanted freedom even from family, even from wife, even from husband, even from society, even from tradition. And you see, today everybody is a believer, but sometimes they neglect. They want autonomy even from religion, even from society, even from the rules of moral, cultural, ethical, financial rules. That's what. And autonomous individual, this is called the Cartesian cogito. Progress and novelty are well raised, not required. And modernism refers to a Protestant's mode of consciousness. What does it mean by modernism? Modernism is nothing but what actually happened during Renaissance. What actually happened during Renaissance? People wanted and freedom, autonomy, individuality. So people were divided in two, and there were Catholics and Protestants. Protestants opposed church, opposed king, opposed traditional institutions. In the same way, during this period, This modernism is all about that. Protestants' mode of awareness and was the need of the hour to the most of the people during modern period. And during this period you can see there were wide variety of subjects which were introduced into English literature, and wide variety of forms, wide variety of concepts and styles which were introduced to talk about, to signify something, you see. Next you can also observe deliberate and radical break of traditional basis of Western, and they opposed Western art, Western culture. Literature was against traditional modes of Western art, Western culture. Literature was greatly influenced by four major thinkers, my friends. Four major thinkers: Friedrich Nietzsche, a politician, and Karl Marx, a communist, a socialist, Sigmund Freud, a psychologist, Sir James Fraser, a culturalist. So these are the writers, these are the thinkers who connected, who proposed a lot of theories. As for example, Sir James Fraser spoke about the relationship between literature and archetype. Sigmund Freud, literature and psychology, psychoanalysis. And Karl Marx, literature and communism or socialism. And Friedrich Nietzsche, literature and politics. So when you want to read literature, the moment you want to read literature of modern period, you require a number of theories. You need to read the text from different perspectives, not one perspective. You need to look at the text from psychology, from religion, from culture, from philosophy, and from politics, from region, plenty, from womanistic perspective, from male perspective, women perspective, like plenty of ideas that you need to keep in your mind when you want to read the text to understand, because people were not able to read and understand the novels composed by D.H. Lawrence. People considered the novels composed by D.H. Lawrence as pornographic because they were not able to apply the theories of Sigmund Freud into Sons and Lovers. Hence, they burnt in 1920s and 30s. He created sexual relationship among the characters. And he even created sexual relationships between and mother and stepmother and son. People were not able to digest these issues and they rejected, burnt novels, and they understood in 1970s. They were able to, because knowledge comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, according to Bloom, which is not going to happen easily. Knowledge, the cognitive domain, affective domain, psychomotor domain, that concepts that Benjamin S. Bloom, who talks about the idea, it is not possible to apply easily, my friends. So to English people to apply the principles of Sigmund Freud, it took 70 years. By 1970, they were able to understand the importance of D.H. Lawrence, Sons and Lovers, Women in Love, Rainbow, Lady Chatter's Lover, and the greatness of these novels. Because the application of the psychological theories into the text, they were able to read that. That's what, my friends. So to read the text of modern period, for example, why the wasteland is so difficult, you need to read from the point of view of many theories, not just 1, 2, 3. One principle, if you apply, you cannot understand. You need to apply psychology, philosophy, and religion. You need to apply and many things. Then only you will be able to read the text and understand and apply easily. That's what literature is influenced by these four thinkers. Sir James Fraser is known for a popular book, The Golden Bough. Okay, and where he makes connection between literature and Christian tenets, pagan and barbaric, and myths and rituals, where he made a comparison. And he said that all these are equal, all these are considered to be archetypal. What is archetype? It's a religion, it's a myth, it's a ritual, it's a social practice, it's a cultural practice that we have. For example, the process of using a vermilion, it's a archetype. The process of using a vermilion, and it's archetype. The process of wearing a dress and combing your hair, it's an archetype according to Sir James Fraser. So when you read literature, these traditions are to be applied, understood, to understand the text in a better way. Next, literature was influenced by the catastrophe of the war. Usually war destroyed the wishes of the common people. Yes, actually I kept only just 45 minutes, I think so. Next, and high modernism, the year 1922 is considered to be high modernism. Important books like The Wasteland, Ulysses and Jacob's Rome, popular books which are the and which are the replica of modernism, were published in 1922. So modernism, high modernism, the year 1922 is called high modernism according to many experts, because there these three important literary texts were published. Next, literature was also about and contemporary history. Next, signify contemporary disorder. Literature was about what was a disorder in the society. To talk about the disorder, literature was composed. Next, the wasteland, for example, wasteland, disorder, disability and dysfunction, and you see plenty of other aspects that he talks about and infertility, the major themes, stagnation. Next, literature during this period was also about stream of consciousness. It was about, because this novel, James Joyce's novel, which is considered to be stream of consciousness novel, and we have popular writers like Gertrude Stein, James Joyce, Eliot, Woolf, where they introduced a technique called automatic writing. Like, next, during this period you find plenty of writers, Marcel Proust, Thomas Mann, Andrew Wright, Franz Kafka. These are the representatives of European and American writers. All these were not just British writers, English or Irish or Scottish, from other part of the world. Very important writers all these are. Marcel Proust, Thomas Mann, who was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1928. He wrote the biography of Gandhi also. Andrew Wright, Franz Kafka, very popular writer, French. Dorothy Richardson, William Faulkner, Americans, Stephen Malm, and French. William Butler Yeats, Irish. Rainer Maria Rilke, German. And Marianne Moore, English, American. William Carlos Williams, American. Wallace Stevens, American. August Strindberg, Luigi Pirandello, Eugene O'Neill, and Bertolt Brecht, American writers, American dramatists. So these were very popular writers and who wrote a lot of literature during modern period. To talk about plenty, and during this period you find theories like surrealism, Dadaism, existentialism, absurdism, apocalyptic novels, stream of consciousness, campus novels, comedy of menace, plenty of theories that became so popular during this period, my friends. And there is another concept, avant-garde, another important concept like avant-garde. Avant-garde is nothing but to make something new, because they take one novel, for example, Dr. Fauci's, it's a popular drama composed by Christopher Marlowe that is reproduced in 21st century, in 20th century by some of the writers in terms of drama, where they made something new. So the process of taking something old into new, that is called avant-garde. It's a French term. So literature was about making the old into new. Okay, next, literature was about social disorder, cultural disorder, religious disorder. Next, why were they and use the concept like avant-garde to shock the readers? Because we expect Dr. Fauci's, which means we have one idea, but when you watch Dr. Fauci's in the modern world, you will have a different idea. Okay, for example, King Lear, which is composed by Shakespeare long back in 16th century. Same drama which is produced by Nahum Tate in 20th century, and to have different ending. Because why he wanted to make King Lear into new? To shock the sensibilities of the reader, because we have some idea to go and to watch that movie and you will get a different experience. That is the major idea of avant-garde, to shock the sensibilities of the conventional reader and challenge the norms and pieties of the dominant bourgeois culture. This is something about modern period, my friends. It's enough, and tomorrow onwards we'll start forms of English literature, literary terms of English literature, because those are very important for us. Before we start lessons, before we start other things, we will be talking about these aspects. What? Forms of poetry, forms of fiction, forms of drama, and prosody, meter, figures of speech, stanza forms, and other literary terms. First, next area is all about this, and we'll have a discussion. I don't think we'll have, and I'll give you intimation through WhatsApp and what we are going to talk tomorrow. Okay, and we'll start prosody. Very important topic, my friends. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow and same time.